Well, hello scrappers, welcome back to my channel. What do we got going on over here? Well, not too long ago I released a video about how I had improved my improvised grinder some over there. I ran some material through it, some incinerated IC chips, not a lot, just like a little over a liter of incinerated IC chips. Mixed up ones, not particularly valuable ones I thought. Here's our stuff. I would say there's less than 100 milliliters of powder in there. Not bad for reducing it down from a little over a liter of IC chips initially. Now I have swished this around and I'll have to, hopefully you can see it. Let me get it over here. I don't know if that's going to show up or not. Let me try and get a good focus on it. But yeah, there's the gold right in there. So yeah, not bad for only a liter of not particularly great IC chips, just an average mix of chips as far as I'm concerned. And I was just going to set that stuff aside until I had more to process, but I decided, oh, what the heck, I had nothing better to do. I'll just go ahead and process this stuff while I'm waiting to get more. So it's all been through extraction with nitric acid, dissolved in aqua regia. I got a really strong stannous chloride indication. Really dark. So that tells me there might be a little bit more gold in here than I thought there was. So I thought it might be interesting to just go ahead and filter this out and drop the gold and see what we get. So gonna do that. Gonna get set up for that, and I'll show you a little trick here. Get a little more light on the subject. For getting your filters in here. Now, my Buckner funnel here has really big holes in it. The suction from my pump will suck holes in the filter. So, what I do is I put two filters in here. I double up on my filters. So, I got this one which just fits in there. Get off of there, you. And, okay. But this is going to be a messy filtration, so I'm going to put this one in. And I'll show you a little trick for getting a perfectly fitting filter every time. Find something that just fits inside your Buckner funnel. In this case, it's my 3-liter beaker. And voila! Perfectly formed filter every time. Works like a charm. Okay, let me get this wetted down a bit. Get the pump running. And we'll filter this stuff. Then we'll drop the gold and see how much we got. Whoops. I hate that when the beaker's a little over full. After I iced it down, there was a little bit of excess material there. I will have to get a piece of paper towel and wipe that up and keep that with my paper storage, because that liquid has gold in it. So in spite of the muddy color of this stuff, the liquid's coming through the filter looking pretty good. Yeah, that's coming through pretty good. Looks nice. Nice and clear. It's the right color. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to get this filtered. And I'm going to get this mess I made wiped up. And I'll be back when I'm done. Alright, filtration's almost done. All I've got to do is wash the color out of the filter. But I just thought I'd give you a look at that. So once I get the color washed out of the filter up here, I'll put this in this clean 2-liter beaker over here, and we'll get it in the fume hood, and we will drop the gold with some SMB, and we'll see how much gold we get out of it. Alright, let's get this gold dropping. From the sound of the blower on my fume hood, it sounds like it's not going to last much longer, but as usual, I already have a replacement ready. Replacing it is about a 10-minute job, so Interesting. Let me give that a stir. That may be all it needs. Maybe a bit more. I think yeah, definitely getting a color change, getting a reaction there. Got the white foam, so okay, so that should be enough. We'll just let that sit. Oh yeah, look how dark it is now. Yeah, it's darkened up a whole lot. Okay, we'll just let that sit and see what develops. Well, it's the next morning, and the gold is all settled out to the bottom of the beaker, as you can see. Now, I'm not really liking the looks of it, I have to say. The liquid started going a little cloudy before I even put the SMB in. It sat here for a while between the time I filtered it and the time I got around to putting the SMB in. It started going cloudy. Something was coming out of solution. Don't know what. Didn't really look like silver chloride. Could have been, but it didn't really look like it. I've seen that enough times. The gold, when it came out of solution, it's microfine. It's like colloidal. So it finally settled. It took a long time to settle. That tells me that this is contaminated with something. It's not a real clean gold drop, which I wasn't really expecting. I would have been really surprised if it was a super clean gold drop, because this is the first drop after out of the IC chip remains. Normally it is a pretty dirty gold drop. It's just not as green as it usually is. It's kind of yellow. Probably iron, I would imagine, iron compounds in there. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to just run all this through a filter, capture the gold on the filter, and then redissolve it in aqua regia, and then reprecipitate it. It should come out a lot cleaner. Certainly all this yellow stuff in solution won't be there. And I did do a stannous chloride test on this off camera. There is no gold left in it, so we dropped all the gold. So this yellow color is not gold, it's probably iron. And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some other base metal salts in there that are screwing up the gold precipitation and making it so colloidal. So anyway, let me get set up for filtration. We'll filter this, get it all captured on the filter, and we'll redissolve it and see if we can make some nice clean gold out of it. Okay, let me get this stuff filtered. This is one of the problems with doing just random batches of IC chips. No two batches are the same. And you run into strange contaminants every once in a while. You know, you'll think you've got this knocked, and then you'll run up against something you haven't seen before, some kind of strange contaminant. Let me knock down some of this floating gold. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter since I'm filtering it all. Get it all into the filter. It doesn't matter if it floats. I just don't want to plug the filter too soon. Got a lot of liquid to get through. Every once in a great while I will come across a big batch of the same type of IC chip for sale cheap. And I'll grab it if it looks like it's going to be a good gold producer. But you know, you'll get good at processing those chips. You'll know what to expect, but then once you run out of them, you're back to just working with random batches of IC chips again. And of course, with the random batch, you never know what you're going to get. Okay, so let me get this filtered. Be back when it's done. Almost got it all through the filter, just about down to the gold, which I am surprised. Like I said it earlier, I'm kind of surprised at how much gold is here. I got out of that little over a liter of IC chips, random IC chips. Looks like a lot anyway. I don't know how much it'll be on the scale. Always looks like a lot when it's wet. But that's another thing about working with random batches of IC chips. Sometimes you get a lot of gold out of a batch, and sometimes you won't get much at all. Now, look at the color of that filtrate. If I didn't know better, I'd say that's still loaded with gold. But I did the stannous chloride test on it, and I know my stannous chloride is good. Now, never trust your stannous chloride if it's old, okay? I just made my stannous chloride yesterday. It's as fresh as can be. So I know there's no gold in there. That's all iron contamination. But never trust a stannous chloride test unless you're using fresh stannous chloride, because you can get a false negative. It can not react at all even if you got gold in solution, or it can tell you you've got very little gold in solution when you've got a whole lot. So the stuff ages and just stops working. I don't know why. I don't understand the chemistry behind it. It must be some sort of oxidation that's happening. But I know that heat and light and age just make stannous chloride stop working. So yeah, so don't trust your stannous chloride tests unless the stuff is fresh. So mine's fresh, so I know there's no gold in there. This is all going to my stock pot anyway, so even if there are traces of gold left in there, I'll get them out eventually. Okay, so we're all filtered. Let me get this filter out of here. Well, let me rinse the contamination out of it a bit. Then we'll get the filter out of there and get it in another beaker, and we will redissolve it and reprecipitate the gold. Oh, and one more thing. I've said it before. I always wipe down the inside of my beakers after I precipitate gold in them. And, you know, particularly this stuff, which was microfine, I knew there'd be a lot of it sticking to the inside of the glass. And sure enough, look at all that. That's going with my paper storage there. Yep. I'll get that gold back eventually when I process my papers and filters. So, don't want to lose that. Okay, I've rearranged things a bit in the fume hood. Got our filter with the gold in it in the beaker, in a beaker in there on the heat. Let's make some aqua regia. Let me get the fume hood going first off. Oh, yeah, that's not going to last much longer, I don't think. To dig out that replacement blower soon and swap them out. Okay, so here goes a little nitric acid. Go with about 4 milliliters and see where that gets us. We may not need any more than that. I mean, yeah, there's looks like a fair amount of gold in there, but really, you know, it's not that much. That warm up, and we should see a reaction. Alright, it's been on there for a few minutes, had a chance to warm up. We got some pretty good bubbling going on in there. Looks like the gold's starting to go back into solution. Liquid's turning the right color. So we'll just let it cook for a while. Well, it's been a few more minutes now. We got a heck of a reaction going. Lots of bubbling, fizzing, lots of orange fumes. Alright. Paper's falling apart. This should be done pretty shortly. Alrighty, the reaction is done. The gold has gone back into solution. The paper pulp has pretty much fallen apart. Get any goodness off the watch glass down in there. As those bubbles burst, a mist of gold-filled fluid comes up and collects on the watch glass. Okay. My usual saturated solution of sulfamic acid here. To denox it. Oh yeah, a little extra nitric acid in there, but I was expecting that. I figured 4 milliliters was a bit much, but that's okay. Wash all this sulfamic acid into it, and we will be thoroughly denoxed. Alright, gonna ice it down, cool it and dilute it. And then once that ice melts, filter it again, and then drop the gold again. Alrighty, the ice is all melted. Let's get this stuff filtered. Drop the gold again. Should be nice clean gold this time. That's what I'm thinking. Okay. This is just going to take a little while to filter. Be back in a bit. Okay, all the liquid's through. Cleaned this beaker. I'll put it back in it. But first I gotta wash all the color out of the filter. And speaking of color, that's a much better color right there. Before it was a little on the orange side. It looked like it was way too strong for the amount of gold that was in there. There was obviously something, I guess all that iron stuff in there, making the color really strong. And then of course we had that precipitate problem. But I think we have probably cleaned this gold up really nicely. So after I wash the color out of the filter, a few more spritzes, let it drain, I will put the liquid in this clean beaker over here. We'll get it in the fume hood and we will drop the gold again. Alrighty, got the filtered liquid back in the fume hood. Much better looking, not a trace of cloudiness this time around. Much better looking. Okay, let's see if we can drop this gold. Maybe we'll catch the color change this time. Get the fume hood going. And got some Stump Out by Bonine here, which contains sodium metabisulfite. Just the stuff we need to get this gold to come out of solution, except it's lumpy. I get a lot of criticism for not stirring it, so we'll give it a stir. A big lump down there. Let me see if I can break it up. Yeah, it's going clear, see that? It's losing its color, it's going pale. So after it goes pale, the next step is for it to start darkening up. As the gold starts coming out of solution. Never did break up that big lump down there, but it'll dissolve eventually. And yep, it's darkening up. Perfect. Oh yeah, darker by the second. Alright. So we'll just let that sit and do its thing. And see what kind of gold drop we get out of it this time. I'll bet it's going to be a much nicer, cleaner gold drop. Should be a keeper. Okay, it's only a minute or two later, just long enough for me to put away the SMB and start cleaning up the bench over here, and well, that's what's happened. It's gone good and dark. And unless my eyes are deceiving me, I think it's already starting to clear from the top down. The gold is settling quick. I like that. When the gold settles quick, that tells me it's clean gold. Excellent. Oh yeah, look how nicely that's settling. That is some much cleaner gold. I like it. Yeah. Alright, I am pouring off the excess liquid off the gold. I'm pouring it through a filter. And a little bit of the uber fine gold is coming across too. I'm not too worried about that. I'm sure it doesn't amount to anything weight-wise. And I'm catching it on the filter, so it's not getting lost. I'll throw that in the next time I make Aqua Regia. But look at that. There's our gold. Fair amount by the looks of it. You know, for such a small amount of IC chips anyway, it's a fair amount. And look at the filtrate. Absolutely crystal clear, no color. That's good. It's not like the first time around where it was nasty yellow from iron contamination. Looks like we got some good clean gold this time around. So what I'm going to do with this stuff is I'm going to give it some boils in distilled water to clean it up even more. And then I'll dry it out and weigh it up and see how much we got. Okay, that's the third and last distilled water boil for this gold. So it's good and clean now. This looks like it's agglomerated together nice. It's staying on the bottom of the beaker. It's not up in the water column. So I will dump this water off, like I've dumped the rest of it off, through that filter. So any gold that does come over, I'll catch it. And then let me turn the hot plate off. But I will put the beaker with the wet gold in it on the still warm hot plate and evaporate the water off. Then I'll be able to get a weight on the gold. Okay, there's our gold drying out on the hot plate. It sure does look like a lot when it's wet, but you know, I'll bet it won't look like so much once it's all dried out and desiccated. Okay, our gold's all dried out. Let me get it unstuck from the inside of the beaker here with my little paintbrush. There should be enough here to move the scale, get a weight, see what we got. Alright, scale on. Ooh, just shy of a gram. Yeah, it looked like more wet than it really was. But you know what? That's the way it always does. But still, from just a hair over a liter of IC chips, that is not too shabby right there. Just tiny bit shy of a gram. Yeah, cool. So let me add this to my gold powder storage here. Let this build up again. Alrighty. Well, that was kind of interesting. First use of the new and improved grinder produced a fair amount of gold. It could have just been a particularly good batch of chips, or maybe it's just the much finer grind I'm getting with the grinder. I'm not sure which, but that was a lot of gold to get out of only a little over a liter of IC chips. So I've got a lot more chips to process through the grinder. In fact, I've already got them ground up and in the dust deputy. So I've got to sift them all out and gravity separate them, and I'll probably have enough material there. I may get the sluice out just to reduce the amount of material I've got there to deal with. So keep watching. There will be more updates on this in the future as I recover more gold from my IC chips. So thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found this somewhat interesting, educational, inspirational, whatever. Give it a thumbs up, give it a like, subscribe to see future videos. Check out my second channel, ElectroGeek64. Subscribe over there too to help the channel grow. And press the little bell icon in both places that YouTube makes you press to be notified when new videos come out. And I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye.